Hi, my name is Anjani Segrist, and here I'm going to talk about a few reasons why we are afraid of the dark. So, being afraid of the dark kind of starts when we're kids, right? It's like we are going to bed at night and we feel that there's something in our room that's scary, and so we need to have a night light. And I feel like that's when it starts. The first recognition that there's something there that we can't see and we can't understand, and we're afraid of it. As we grow up, we start to kind of be more comfortable. Some people don't. I know a lot of grown-ups who still sleep with a nightlight on, and when they come to my house, this is when I realize that they might still be afraid of the dark. Is my house is completely pitch black, and my bedroom especially, you can't see a hand in front of your face. It's completely dark, and the reason I do that is for the pineal gland and the pituitary gland during sleep. That's, they're doing magical things during sleep, and they need to have complete darkness. And I'm comfortable with my own shadow. I'm comfortable with the dark, and that's what I do. But I notice that when people come to sleep over, that's one of the main things that people say when they leave, or when they're staying with me. There's a few other things that are notable, but that's one of them. So I feel like, as we've grown up, we've been taught to be afraid of things that we can't see. We can feel, there's like an energy, and you can feel the energy, but you can't see where that's coming from. And it can be scary for some people until, maybe you get to understand what is this energy that you're feeling and start to work with it and understand. I call it the loving darkness. Sometimes I call it the pregnant void, or the loving void, something like that. So it gives it a feel of being enveloped in a loving field. So some of the things that I really, really have to say here today is, number one, this whole thing about kind of being freaked out by people who are maybe call themselves psychics, shaman, shamaness, priestess, sorcerers, wizards, all of these kind of things. Just take the whole of society, and within that whole of society, there are many different types of people to make up the whole circle. We need to have the shaman and the priestess and the sorcerer and the wizard and the psychic just as much as we need the doctor, the attorney, the dentist, the pet groomer, the trash handlers, whatever the appropriate name is for that. We need to have all of them. So to kind of put down and to shun and keep in the dark those who are sorcerers, shamans, priestess, psychics, wizards, to kind of have them to be in a corner isn't really right. Now, I understand, because I started the whole topic by saying that, something that's in the dark, maybe we're afraid of, and a lot of this work that the shaman and the priestess and the psychic are doing does deal with energy and the unseen realms. So maybe some of the work that they're doing isn't so much up in the front of society and at the forefront. Maybe it should be, maybe it could be, maybe that would be beautiful and helpful if people who were doing that kind of work were able to stand up and claim it. I'm a witch, I'm a shaman, I am a priestess, and getting their work right in the front of, showing us how the things that they do are really valuable. So I also wanted to just say some of the things that these people are doing, just to sort of make it not such a scary, weird thing if somebody's a witch, or if somebody is a priestess, or if somebody is a wizard. They're tracking time. They know all where the sun and moon are. They're aware of the planetary alignments. They know the cycles of the moon and the sun. They know the cycles of a woman's menstrual period, her cycle, and how that corresponds with the lunation cycle with the moon. They're able to use plants to heal many things. They communicate with plants. They understand the plant kingdom. They're helping and assisting with birth, with the whole birthing process from the time of, preconception, preparing the field for where the child will grow, helping the mother through the whole process as a doula, maybe you might consider and put in with a witch or with a priestess or, all in that realm. It's like these are the people who are in tune with nature. They understand cycles, patterns, phases of life, initiation cycles of life, and they're honoring these patterns and honoring the timing, the rhythm of life, and I can't say, whether or not there's a way for those people in, doing that kind of work. Many of them are in offices during the day, and it's like a secret almost from what I understand. I feel like for the most part, everybody knows that this is what I do. I totally, and I don't know, maybe it's not at the forefront, like it's maybe not so obvious. And I definitely don't call myself a shaman or a priestess I don't refer to myself that way. But I think partially the reason I don't refer to myself that way is because people are freaked out by it, and I don't want to freak people out. I really value logic, and I really value, the pragmatic side of life. Like I also myself, like I couldn't put craniosacral therapy as a treatment on my list of services for almost 10 years because I could not explain how it worked and why it worked. And, part of it is that I would see visions and get a feeling that was part of the treatment and part of the whole healing process with somebody, but it doesn't make sense. So I couldn't really offer it. So I feel like, there's a lot of people who are in the same situation where maybe they are doing something that is of great value. I have a really good male friend who makes perfumes, and he knows everything about plants and about, the right time to plant things. He knows the name of every flower. If I take a picture of something in my garden, I'm like, hey, this thing is growing. What is it? Should I pull it? Is it a weed? Is it an edible? In 2 minutes, he knows exactly what it is. But he's kind of hidden off, and it's not just him. There's so many people in San Diego around me that I know who have these amazing talents, but there's really not a place for them, or maybe they just haven't found their place. So the whole point of this video is really, if you're one of these people who are, a gifted psychic, or about the rhythms and the patterns of the lunation cycle and how it corresponds with a woman's menstrual cycle and the initiation cycles from birth to death, and about plant medicine, and you're in tune with nature. That's what this is about, being in tune with nature and knowing that loving darkness, the things that are in the dark, being able to talk about that freely and openly, and not be kind of worried that you're going to sound weird or look weird or anything. And on the other side of that, if you don't know what you're talking about, and I've had it be the opposite way too, where and this is way less, it happens way less, where somebody will come in and just like, oh yeah, it's a full moon coming up, so you shouldn't use your phone, and you shouldn't, communication is bad on a full moon. I'm just like, what do you mean? Like, that's not even true. So it goes both ways, like if you're doing that kind of work, like please know what you're talking about. And if you're doing that work, talk about it. You know, if that's really, even if it's just the tiniest thing, like just the tiniest piece of it. You don't have to be a full-blown shaman to talk about shamanic journeys. If that's something that you're good at and you know about it, bring it up, you know, give us a class or do something, because this is the time. Like, we all need this information now, and I feel like people are hungry for it. So if I do say something off the wall at some point, it's not off the wall to me, but I have a lot of clients who are what I call normal people. Like, they have normal jobs and they're in the regular pace of society, and they follow the media and they know what's happening in the news and all that. That's normal to me. And I'll say something about, oh, you know, Saturn and Antares and Mars are all grouped together in the sky, and that's really, that astrology talk usually always really throws people for a loop. But just, you know, anything that I would talk about that's a little bit not normal, I notice more and more that people are ready for that. You know, they're listening and they want to know more about it. So that's the whole point of this video. Just talk about it, bring out what I told my mom a long time ago. I made her a piece of jewelry. I like to make beaded jewelry and just weird little things. And I gave her a piece of jewelry and I was like, oh, she was like, oh, I love it. I knew she really loved it, you know, and I told her to bring out her inner hippie. I don't refer to myself as a hippie either. Like, I don't really have a title for myself like that, but you know, the part of you that knows the truth. And when I say something that isn't a normal, typical conversation and it strikes a chord, it's because that's a part of you. That's a piece of, you know, we all have an inner shaman or an inner priestess or an inner psychic or a mystic or a wizard. We all have, that's an archetype, and we have all of it within us. It's just, you know, some people, that's their main archetype. That's like their main thing. And other people, it's in there. It's just not awake, not alive, been pushed down, pushed in a corner because we're scared of the dark. And, you know, activating that part of yourself will only give you more power and will only give more power to everything around you. So I urge and encourage you to check yourself out and, you know, maybe see if there's something that you're interested in, to get into it, dive into it, you know, just check it out. So thank you very much. This is another video by me. My main platform is uniting the masculine and feminine within the person. You might call this a union, you might call it Tantra. It's basically bringing together and making whole ourselves. So follow me, like the video. Thank you very much.